Someone asked, can you please give a talk on Buddhist rituals? And it won't be a long talk because there ain't many Buddhist rituals. And there's a real good purpose for that, a good point for that, because I don't know about you, but I got really sort of fed up by seeing all these rituals in many spiritual practices, and I could never make any sense of them. What are you doing this for? Why are you doing it this way? And sometimes when we don't understand what these rituals are, they are literally empty and meaningless, but there's also something dangerous in religion with rituals, because if there's a special ritual, there's only certain people know how to do it, and only certain people are authorized to do it, which means it gives those people special power. Imagine that I was the only person in the Buddhist Society of Western Australia who could forgive your sins, and there's many of them, you well know. Then of course it gives me this immense power, and I could start charging you for it. I'd make a fortune in no time. So sometimes whenever you give a person authority because they know the ritual and they're the only one who can do it, that gives a lot of power to religions, and that's usually where religions start falling apart. So as Buddhist monks, we have not got with our ordination some special grace or power conferred by our ordination, which means that we can do things that you can't do. And of course you've been here during our Range Retreat, you get other people coming and give talks here, lay people, monks, nuns, all over the place, and anyone can give a good talk. But what is really important is that it's not just because you're a monk gives you some ecclesiastical authority or power. So that means that we don't own the rituals. You can do them for yourself if you like. For example, one of the rituals we do as Buddhist monks, because somebody was talking about this earlier, one of the things we're well known for, one of the things we're probably better than all other religions at, is ghost busting. And it's true. Many, many times people have tried the Christians, they've tried the Hindus, they tried the Jews, and at the very end they come to us to get rid of the ghosts. Because we are the best Ghostbusters. Now there's funny stories. One of my favourite stories of one of my great friends, he used to come here a long time ago, many times to give talks, Dr. Kesri Dhammananda. He got some of his books in the library, things like Why Worry? And he was a great Ghostbuster, one of the best. Because he told me once that in Kuala Lumpur, where he used to live, he said there was a house close by, had a very bad ghost. And they got the Christians in, didn't work. Muslims, Hindus, didn't work. They should have gone to him first of all. So he went in there, he did his chanting, he did the ritual, and the ghost left. Straight away. Amazing, wasn't it? But there was a problem. Because the ghost went next door. He just moved houses to next door. And so this man, Kesri Dhammananda, had to chant in all of the houses in the area to make sure the ghost didn't just move from one to the other, but got out of the whole neighbourhood. But if you want, you can get rid of the ghosts. You don't need to get the monks to do the chanting, because there's too many things the monks have to do. So do it yourself. We'll show you how to get rid of ghost chanting. So there's no real ritual to it. There's no sort of hocus pocus. All it is just giving loving kindness to the ghost and reminding the ghost that it's dead. Simple thing to do. So the rituals are meaningful. When you understand what it is, you can do it yourself. One of the other rituals which monks are famous for, like in Japan, they usually get a Christian marriage, but they always get a Buddhist funeral in Japan. Because they've got many religions there. I don't know why it is, but the Buddhists are just well known for their funeral services. And someone told me this story, that unfortunately there weren't enough monks around. And sometimes the monks were busy. So, they couldn't get them to do your funeral service for you. So, Japan being Japan, high tech, this one funeral parlour managed to get a robot monk. It's true, I'm not joking. you go to this funeral parlour in Japan, I don't know what city it is, and you get this monk, just like me, just sitting up here, but perfectly still. And actually, when you want a funeral, I don't know how much money you have to pay, turn him on, and then he does perfect chanting, absolutely, all of the chanting. There's no mistakes, there's no coughing, perfect chanting. And then after he's finished, this is like marketing in Japan. Again, I read this is true. After the chanting is finished, the funeral chanting, just to make it sort of a bit more interesting for everybody who goes to funerals, because funerals can be very boring, They can just be a bit of a sort of a turn-off. But anyway, to make it really interesting, at the very end, after the chanting, this robot monk levitates in the air. And then it goes in a trapdoor in the ceiling with all this dry ice clouds. It's very, very inspiring. And also, it doesn't cost anything, just a couple of, yen for the electricity, and that's all. Real monks and real nuns, we're very expensive to look after. You've got to feed us, clothe us, and make sure we have plenty of cups of tea. For a robot, it's very easy. So, really, if we do get too busy here, Dennis, at the Buddhist Society of Western Australia, invest in a robot. You get like a robot Ajahn Brahm on a Friday night. You just need to put in the old jokes in the back, turn him on, and I can stay at my monastery. They're all the same, isn't it? So, okay, joke. I told it to someone the other day, or someone told it to me, and it was amazing that they hadn't heard it before. So, again, hopefully your memories aren't so sharp, because I'm sure I said this not so long ago. A man goes to a doctor, and the doctor tells him, "I'm sorry, sir, you've got a very bad terminal disease." "Oh my goodness, how long have I got to live?" 9, said the doctor. "What do you mean 9? 9 years, 9 months, 9 weeks?" 8, 7, 6, 5. So that could be one of the jokes you put in the CD to put in the back. But anyway, all of these rituals that sometimes you can see from that little story there is nothing sacred about Buddhist rituals. It's not like drawing some divine power, which means you need some special powers, or you have to have some special God which you channel to do things. This is not Buddhist rituals. Buddhist rituals are down to earth, meaningful, and basically if you wanted to, you can do it yourself. Because all they really are, a Buddhist ritual, is actually making some good karma, which empowers you, being kind, and listening to some good teachings, that's all. Very, very simple and down to earth. So if it is, say a marriage, because I was talking to someone, I'm going to be doing some of their marriages soon, and what is a ritual for a Buddhist marriage? You just keep it simple and meaningful, and basically you can make it up as you go along. There is no marriage rite as such in Buddhism. Dennis is a marriage celibate, knows, you try and look through the books, what's the marriage rite? It's not like in the Christian church where you've got a marriage rite. This one you can actually make it meaningful, and it's wonderful you can make it meaningful, because you don't have to go into these rites which cause people a lot of angst when you say, "I promise to love and obey." And that's not really a nice way to start a marriage, is it? You can actually do it the way you feel. Because it's not a fixed ritual, you can adapt it. I think maybe that's one of the reasons why Buddhism has lasted so long, because it's so adaptable to time and to place. So we can have rituals for gay marriages. There's nothing wrong with that in Buddhism. And I volunteered to do the first gay marriage in Western Australia. Once it's sort of legal. Is it legal yet? Oh, come on. Because I'm already a heretic by doing the bhikkhuni ordination, so once you're a heretic, always a heretic. But when you actually start these rituals here, you make it meaningful. So, here you have like 2 people coming together, so it's a celebration, obviously, so you make it fun and not too serious. And for those of you who've seen the Buddhist marriages, they're really good fun. Come along and join in and see what happens. What we usually do, they come up here and they exchange vows and they make up their own vows. Now what a vow really is just an affirmation, of the fact that they're going to share their life with this person. Remember that one marriage which we did in Dennis over in Yanchep, and there was like two people, it was their second marriages, so they had kids. I think the wife had a son from the previous marriage and the husband had a daughter, and so all four of them joined in this very beautiful marriage. And so not only did the bride and groom just exchange their affirmations of love and commitment to one another, sort of the stepson went up to his stepmom and also said, I commit my love to you, stepmom. And the stepson went to his stepdaughter to the stepfather, saying that I also commit my love to you. It's a really wonderful adaptation of like a modern family where you have children from previous marriages and you become a family again. But I always remember that marriage, you remember that marriage, Dennis, because it was such an inspiring marriage that when we finished we realised that Dennis hadn't given them the rings yet. You remember that one? That's a famous one. So, oops, I've given the rings. That doesn't matter. I mean, don't give the rings. It's still a marriage. You don't need to sort of worry about that's not being the ritual. So, because Buddhism is like a down-to-earth practical, but has a spiritual heart to it, you can adapt the rituals to do whatever you feel is wonderful. Which means it can adapt to time and place, and it can be meaningful. It can be relating to you. Rather than some of these other rituals you go through, you don't know what the heck's going on. And you just want to sort of get over and done with as soon as you possibly can. So those are the sorts of rituals. And I remember just being so many rituals, and they go on and on and on. You haven't got a clue what's going on. Some hocus pocus and a priest messing around with his hands and doing all sorts of mumbo jumbo. And of course, what the heck's going on? You don't know. But people still buy into it. So don't do that. So keep it sort of down to earth, keep it open, keep it meaningful. So the sort of ceremonies which we have in Buddhism which do keep it meaningful, marriages and deaths, of course, keeping that very meaningful. And that the funeral services, again, if you want to have the best funeral service, just like ghost busting, we really got on the end of life. The really best funeral services are just the Buddhist ones. And look, I tell you, this is no joke, that funeral directors, because I do a lot of Buddhist funeral services, they book me for their funerals, pre-booked. And this is the experts, the people in the trade. And they say, yeah, we want you guys. We're not Buddhists, but you do the best funerals. So the reason why it's the best funerals, again, we make it meaningful. You take a person and they've got like the grief and they've got the sadness, and how can you take that and turn it into something very beautiful and meaningful and just inspiring? And so we do that with some stories, and metaphors. It's just like the metaphor of the ship sailing away from the quayside. And there you are on the dock, waving at your loved one. Waving at them as they go away. And they're standing on the deck watching you wave. And the ship gets further and further away. Until it gets so far away, you can't see them anymore. You can still see the ship. They're just a blur on the deck. And you watch that ship till it gets so far, it's on the horizon. And it goes just that little extra distance, and it's over the horizon. And you can't see the ship anymore. You know your loved one's on there, but they're just beyond the range of your sight. Just like death. Your loved one has sailed over the horizon which separates this life from the next. You know they haven't disappeared. You feel that deep in your heart. They're just beyond your touch, beyond your sight, beyond your feel. They haven't disappeared. You can see just how this evokes this beautiful sense of realism. It's true, but no sadness. And that's the sort of rituals which I really like. Rituals which are meaningful, everyone understands, and which works. As far as some of the other rituals we do, you know, that you've been here on some of these holy days, and we do the holy water ceremony. Holy water is really, really good fun as a Buddhist ritual. It's got no meaning whatsoever, but nevertheless it's just, you know, a bit of fun and games and joy. I mean, it's only water. So you can go chant and doing mumbo jumbo on it, but it's still only water at the end of the day. And now this is the Buddhist tradition. So I'll show you how I was trained with holy water by my great master Ajahn Chah. One day, this general came to see Ajahn Chah. Some of you know this story, don't you? Yeah. Now, for those of you, even now, you know that in Thailand there's always these military coups. Even now, the military is very powerful in Thailand. So a general, a major general, is a very powerful figure. Not like generals in Australia. I mean, this is really sort of a person you better watch out for, because they don't like you, you disappear in the middle of the night. So this general came to see my master, Ajahn Chah, wanted a blessing, wanted some holy water. And Ajahn Chah looked around, he didn't have any. So what should he do? So he said, come over here. And the general, this powerful man, with all his officers behind him, he probably had a tank in the car park, I don't know, but come closer. And said, bow. And the other guy bowed in front of Ajahn Chah, and Ajahn Chah leaned over. And he spat all over his hair. All this spit went into the general's hair, and Ajahn Chah took his hand and rubbed it in. And you know that I really thought Ajahn Chah would have gone one step too far. You can't do that to a general. But that general, he brought it. And he thought, oh, marvellous, wonderful. I've got the most special holy water from the most special holy monk. And he went away happy. That was very lucky. So I wouldn't try that, but I tried something similar with holy water some years earlier. This is my blessing with holy water. You know, one of the best holy water blessings I've ever done. It's amazing, the effect of this, almost magical. And of course you've heard this story as well, because that was when I'd been meditating all night in this jungle monastery. You know, up all night meditating and walking and sitting and walking, not having any sleep at all. And so, you know, the session finished, you know, as it would when the sun came up at dawn. So I went outside to have a urinate. So in those days, it's in the jungle, in the forest, in the bush. You don't go to the toilet, you just, you know, find a nice little quiet place in the forest, squat down. You know, we do the squatting down, the Asian style, and urinate. That's important, you know, we were squatting down, not standing up, squatting down. Okay, now imagine what squatting down is, and where your man's organ is. And I thought I was peeing on a stick. It was early in the morning. Light wasn't so good, and I was a bit dull because I'd been meditating. And the stick started to move. It was a very venomous snake. And if you can imagine my position, the most sensitive part of a man's body was only about 2 inches from that snake's mouth. That was very dangerous. That was almost as dangerous as spitting into a general's hair. Peeing on a snake. But did that snake bite me? Of course not. It was holy water. Can't get more holy than that. It was warm as well, which really helped. So some of these rituals, I'm making jokes at these rituals because it's great to make jokes of them so that you don't buy into some of this superstitious stuff which people do. And so when I do holy water, I explain it. Well, what is it? And the real holy water, which we have next door, or we have at our monastery, it's symbolizing 4 things, I tell them. It's symbolizing like purity. Because water you use to wash your clothes, to wash your body, to wash your dishes, it cleans things. So it's a symbol of purity. It's also the symbol of coolness. Maybe not today, but you know when it gets hot in about another month's time, you love to go under the shower, in the swimming pool, down the beach to cool off. So it keeps you cool, so you don't get hot and angry and passionate and stuff. It cools you down, gets you out of trouble. And thirdly, the water is a symbol of actually harmony. You know, in places in Australia which have droughts, the earth is not held together. So when the wind blows, it blows all the topsoil away. But when there's lots of water, it binds things together. Now, like the flour when you're cooking, you add a bit of water and it binds it together into a ball of dough. So water is actually binds things together. So it's a symbol of harmony, binding things together. And last, obviously, water is a symbol of growth and prosperity. You know, it makes the trees grow, the flowers grow, the crops grow. So it has those four symbols to it: purity, coolness, harmony, and prosperity. So when we do a little blessing, that's all we're doing. So remember, this is just to keep you pure, so you don't sort of do stupid things and sort of break your marriage vows or break your precepts. Keeps them nice and pure, and it keeps just everybody so nice and cool. So usually when I give people the holy water for the marriage, I always give them a bowl to take home with them. So when your husband starts to argue, you just get a bit of water and put it on his head. When she really gets cranky, get the whole bowl and put it. He'll cool you off. And it's harmony. It brings a family together, brings a community together. And lastly, it gives prosperity. It's a symbol, that's all. And once I explain what it is, people get it. It's fun and it's meaningful. All it is, we're wishing you all sort of, purity, sort of coolness, harmony and prosperity. It's a wonderful thing to wish people. It reminds you of those things. So that's why we have those ceremonies and why those rituals. We give it a meaning. And if we don't give anything a meaning, it just becomes this empty little sort of thing. And all of these stuff, because it's not so special stuff, it's all given out for free. So we don't charge for any of these things. We don't charge holy water sort of, $10 a litre. Although apparently that did happen over here once, because there's this one lady, and she's long dead now, but she was Chinese Thai, and because she was in a wheelchair, she was very sick, so actually she would ask for a bucket of holy water every week. And I'm really a kind monk. If you want a bucket of holy water, I'll do that. If you want your water tank at home blessed for holy water throughout the rest of the year, I'll do that for you if you wish. Maybe I should go and bless the big reservoirs up in Yokine, and there's just holy water for the whole of the suburbs. But I did a bucket for her every week, and I thought, well, if she likes it, it gives her a bit of an uplift. Why not? And then I found why she was getting a whole bucket, because someone rang me at the monastery. I want to speak to Ajahn Brahm. I said, yes. He said, I want to buy some holy water. I said, we don't sell holy water. He said, yes, you do. I've been buying it from this woman for a long time now. And I want to get it from the source to get a cheaper rate. So she conned me. I was making this bucket every week, and she was putting it in little bottles and flogging it to her friends. And but one of her friends, a Chinese guy, wanted to go to the source to get a cheaper rate. So she wanted to get it wholesale rather than retail. So even like some of the rituals we do, we give it a meaning, we make it fun. Now look, what about the ritual of bowing? Why do people bow to monks or to the Buddha? Do you want to know the reason why we bow, what that ritual actually means? It means that when you bow, usually 3 times, it means you're exercising your tummy muscles so you don't get so fat. No, that's really only a joke, but it works, if you really bow a lot. And it's actually good exercise, it's great yoga. So anyone who's a bit overweight, you've got too much sort of fat around your belly, some more bowing. I'm trying my best to bow a lot. But the real reason is it's just a way of paying respect. And you know why we bow? Even in Western culture, in the old days, I was taught to bow. When sort of you perform on sort of a school play, you bow. Women used to curtsy and stuff like that. And what that meant was actually you were just lowering your head a little bit. When you're lowering your head, it's a symbol of respect. You take something higher. Sometimes you might see me, if we were doing any ceremony and I got a sort of Buddha statue and wanted it blessed, I put it on top of my head. It's just respecting something, that's all. So like bowing is putting yourself down, so the thing you're bowing to is like higher, that's all. It's just respecting. And when you sort of bow to the monks or the nuns or the Buddha statue, all you're saying is like, we really respect you guys, you girls, the statue over there. There's nothing more than that. But for being a Westerner, that was one of the most difficult rituals to accept when I first became a monk. Because you were born sort of in the West and everybody's equal, and my goodness, you can bow to the Thai monks, but please don't bow to me. That's what I told the Thais when I first came. I felt very uncomfortable, people bowing to me. And then I remember a Thai guy came up to me and said, look, Ajahn Brahm, we're not bowing to you, we're bowing to your robe. When he said that, actually, I felt disappointed. I did have ego and pride. Okay, I admitted it. But I realised what they were doing, and it was just a wonderful way of paying respects. And so, sometimes, I love bowing. I remember just doing this ceremony over in Singapore some years ago. Venerable Quang Sheng was being appointed abbot of the Pokak Si monastery, and he was a good friend of mine, and so he invited me to the ceremony. It was wonderful. And so after the ceremony he gave me a gift, and he bowed and I bowed, and we were bowing. We had a bowing competition together. bowing. It was really good fun together to be able to bow to somebody, because all it is you respect something. So that's actually what we're doing. We're not just saying that when you bow, I resolve to follow your every command, Ajahn Brahm, from now on. It's not like kowtowing when you give obedience to somebody. I don't ask for obedience. It'd be great sometimes if I got some, but it doesn't. If it never happens, and I don't want it either. We're not into controlling. That's not part of Buddhism. We are not a control freak religion, as you all know. You can come in here, you can leave whenever you want. And I will not say, what are you doing going out? And you might keep your precepts, not keep your precepts. That's your business. I'm not going to excommunicate you for anything which you've done. Sometimes I've thought about it, but no, I can't. Because it's not a control freak religion at all. So all this bowing is just a symbol of respect, that's all. And for those of you who've never done it before, don't do it to me. Try it at a Buddha statue or something you really respect. And it really feels good in the heart when you can do that. And you're feeling that I actually respect this. And I just want to show my respect by some way, that you've really done a lot for me, and it's such an inspiration, Buddha at the back there. I know you're only a lump of metal, but still, I just really respect, just the fact that you are a peaceful, kind being who came into this world and had this amazing wisdom, and just let people be, respected men, women, gays, everybody for who they are, respected animals, and was just such a peaceful, gentle, wise being. And I really respect that. You just go bowing your head off. You don't just have to bow to a Buddha. I remember this story that I think the first time I went to Christchurch Grammar, up in Claremont, they wanted me to, because a few of the kids, from here go and study over there. So they wanted me to come and give a talk at the assembly. And I got to know Frank Sheehan. He's the chaplain over there. He's a really great guy. So I got very friendly with Frank Sheehan. He's canon, I think, Frank Sheehan. And so there was the three of us, Frank, myself, and the principal, the headmaster. Because we had to wait outside where all the kids and the staff went inside. And the headmaster turned to me. He's been down to our monastery now. He knows me very well now. But he turned around to me and said, look, this is a Christian school. So we've got like a little shrine in there, a shrine for Christ. And so if we're going to bow when we go in there, but you're a Buddhist, don't be embarrassed, you don't need to bow, you can just be yourself. And I said, I demand my right to bow. I like being a heretic. And I went over the top, I must admit, by saying that, because he was quite surprised. What do you mean? It gave me an opportunity to say what respect is and what these rituals really mean. I said, look, I'm not a Christian, but there's something in that image there, something I can see which I can respect. Just like the kindness, the compassion. And he said, that I will bow to. Because I can see in any image something which I can love and respect, and that's what I'm going to bow to. And that was a wonderful sort of symbol of like harmony and ecumenism. I don't agree with everything in Christianity, but I saw something, and that's what I was going to bow to. And so we went in there and we bowed together. Now, isn't that sort of beautiful thing? You can always find something to respect. And when you find something to respect, you put aside all the differences and the faults, and you respect that together. So that was like a beautiful ritual which we could do. And it meant that, we could show to those kids there, Buddhists, Christians, Muslims, don't care who you are, we can get on. We can respect something which we share in common. Many things we differ on, but there's enough we share together. We can do a ritual of common respect to beautiful things in this world. Now that's using rituals in a wise way. Not just being sort of so stiff, and this is the way my teacher did it, this is the way that my religion teaches, and it always has to be this way. When rituals get stuck like that, they get totally meaningless. So because of that, Buddhism, especially this Theravada Buddhism, we can actually adapt to time and place. So those of you who are from Sri Lanka, you notice this is a Buddhist society. We don't do it always the Sri Lankan way. We don't do it the Thai way. We don't do it the Burmese way. We do it the Australia 2009 way. And 2010 will be different. The core is the same. The core of respect and kindness and gentleness, and trying to use these rituals to actually increase our spiritual power and to make our spiritual journey more helpful. Now, one of the great rituals which I like doing, let's do one of the other more unknown rituals, because when I was in Thailand, there's many rituals which I'd never seen before, and they were really powerful. And one of these was called the chicken ceremony. Have any of you ever heard of the chicken ceremony before? It was a brilliant ceremony. And how this happened, there was this guy, and he came to the temple one evening, and he was very, very uptight, because he'd really had a terrible argument with his wife. And he said some really, really, really bad words to his wife. You know what it's like in marriage. Sometimes, these words come out and you just really regret them afterwards. And he felt so bad about what he'd said to his darling wife. So he came to the monk for some counselling and said, look, can you help me? I feel really, really terrible. I said some terrible things to my wife. Please help me. And the monk said, really? This is what the chicken ceremony is all about. We're going to do the chicken ceremony, okay? He said, I never heard of chicken ceremony before. He said, well, you're going to hear about it now. The first thing in a chicken ceremony, I need a chicken. So the market's still open. Go off to the market and buy me a chicken. And just to save time, once you've bought the chicken, on the way home, a dead one that is, on the way home, can you pluck it, take all the feathers out? And so he went down the market, and you remember this one. Went down the market, bought a chicken, and on the way home, plucked out the feathers and threw them away. So when he got back to the temple, he had a nice plucked chicken. He said, hey, is this good enough? He said, perfect, said the monk. Now I'm going to put this in the freezer, because it's too late now to do the rest of the ceremony. Come back tomorrow morning before work, and we'll finish the chicken ceremony. Great. So he came back the following morning, never talked to his wife all night, of course, had to sleep on the sofa for what he said. But went there early in the morning and said, right, what's the second part of this chicken ceremony? Because I really want to sort of settle this with my wife. He said, okay, easy. And he got the chicken out from the freezer, thawed it in the microwave, and he said, right, here's the chicken back again. Now I want you to retrace your steps, the way you came from the market yesterday, pick up all those feathers and put them back in the chicken where you came from. He said, I can't do that. He said, no, look, walk back. He threw them out. They'll be on the roadside somewhere. Pick them up and put them back in exactly the same place you came from. He said, look, once they're out there, you can't put them back again. Exactly. Once these words come out from your mouth, you don't know where they've gone to. You can't collect them and put them back in again, can you? And that was the meaning of the chicken ceremony. To teach you that what comes out of your mouth is out for good. And it's going to cause pain or happiness. And once it's out, you can't catch it and put it back again. So you be careful what comes out from your mouth. Like taking out a chicken feather, once out, can't be put back in. So it's a wonderful, meaningful ceremony because it shows you to be more mindful and careful what you say to people, especially the people you love and care for. So that was the famous chicken ceremony. But we also do these chanting ceremonies as well, where we do all these chants. But a lot of the chants which we do, and sometimes we're trying to do more of the chants in English, as we possibly can, because again they become more meaningful for people. But nevertheless we can still do sort of chants in the old languages. And who knows, do they have power, these chanting ceremonies? But I do know that some of those ceremonies are just really over the top. And I think you all know some of the ceremonies which I mean. Sometimes when people do chanting all night. And sometimes, what are you doing that for? What's the purpose of it? I know one of the purposes is to tire the poor monks out. Keep them up all night, chanting, 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 chanting. Now imagine that was you. But somehow we think it's great merit, it's a wonderful thing to do. Is that really good merit? Torturing your monks? Think about it. Tradition, yeah, we've done that before, it's supposed to be traditional. But as Buddhists, we don't just follow tradition blindly, we question. And what are those chants anyway? Those chants which the monks do are just teachings of the Buddha, so why not listen to a sermon instead? And get a good monk to just give a talk which people can, number one, understand, and they can go away afterwards wiser, kinder people. Because sometimes I've been to these chanting ceremonies and people don't listen. They've got their hands up like this and they're half asleep. Just waiting for the chanting to be finished so they can go and have a cup of tea and talk with their friends. And what sort of ceremony is that? This is totally empty and meaningless. It's the same as some of the ceremonies I went to in Thailand. I mean, no one knew at all what was going on. Even actually when we do our ordination ceremonies, which you have over here, which we do, I always try and explain as we go along what we're doing and why we're doing it. Because these rituals for ordination, this is actually basic Buddhism. When one becomes a monk or when one becomes a nun, it's a very simple ceremony. It has meaning behind it. All it really is you've got a candidate, they want to become a monk, you've got to make sure that they're not running away from the law. So we ask, are you a free man? So in other words, we get all the prisoners up from Karna, please ordain me quick, sanctuary, sanctuary. Actually, one of them asked me once, in the monastery, do you give sanctuary? Unfortunately, we don't. Although even once, it wasn't actually a monk, but just up the road, the prison farm, Karna prison farm, it's just up the road from us, they were transporting some cows. And this is a true story, as the truck passed the gate of Bodhinyana Monastery in Serpentine, one of the cows jumped out. And it was, it injured itself because the car was going quite fast, but it was okay, it ran into our monastery. And, unfortunately I was, I think, here on the weekend. And the truck stopped and a couple of the prisoners and prison officers came in to collect the cow. If I'd have been there, I said, sanctuary. I'd have given the cow sanctuary. I would have done. And they said, well, you can't do that, it's an expensive cow. I'd have bought the cow. With the Buddhist Society's man, I think you wouldn't have minded that. Because if that cow had the guts and the nerve to actually jump out and find its way into a monastery, to me, that's a very smart cow. And I'll look after it. Sanctuary. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, with all this sort of chanting business and stuff like that, it's nice if we do it in English, but what we actually really do when we're actually doing this chanting is actually we're focusing our minds. So a lot of times the chanting does have power, only what the monk or the nun actually gives to it. So whenever I am doing any chanting, any blessings, you see me doing blessings here, they're very simple ceremonies. Sometimes if I don't do it in English, I know those meanings and I'm focusing and I'm giving that power. Just meditation power, because the mind does have power. That's not a ritual, that's a thing you can feel. And that's actually why we do the chanting for, the blessings. And many of you have come over to places like, Serpentine or Dharmasara and listened to some of the chanting, especially in those holy days. And I remember once, I was actually not my monastery, just this monastery up in Chittering which they're building. They're almost finished building it now. Another sort of monastery, it's a Singaporean group are doing that. They're great friends, I know them very well. But you know, they had a lot of difficulty getting their planning permission from Chittering Shire Council. So they had a big meeting in their centre over in Archer Street in Carlisle, and they invited me to come along, you know, so I could actually talk to the councillors and say, it's okay being a Buddhist monastery. You know the story I told them? The power of chanting. Because I got out this scientific research, which I got in the Scientific Journal, which was actually the weekend magazine in the West Australian. But anyway, I got out this piece of research, and it was proper research which was done in Taiwan. So in Taiwan they found out that usually a duck lays an egg every 5 days. You know, because they eat duck's eggs, you know, in Chinese delicacy. So a duck lays an egg once every 5 days. But in this experiment, they played Buddhist chanting to the ducks, and they laid an egg every 3 days. It increased productivity. And I knew around Chittering there were many these broiler factories, these chicken farms. And I said, look, once you've got a Buddhist temple in your midst, I'm sure your chickens will lay far more eggs, and all your farmers will make much more profit. And they got the building license. I don't think because they believe what I was saying, they just know that monks have a sense of humour. And so Australians like monks who have a sense of humour, who are sort of approachable. But I said that, every year over in the Katina ceremony, over in Serpentine, I used to tell that story. And then one year, she still is what's the chief officer, not the mayor, but the CEO, or CEO of Serpentine Jarrahdale Shire. When I saw her, she was pregnant. And I thought, you know why you're pregnant? Because you listened to the chanting last year. Just like ducks lay eggs. And she's the Shire CEO, so she has to sign all of our licenses and stuff. So she laughed, and she comes every year. So I think she's had another baby since all that chanting. So I give you a warning: if you hear the Buddhist monks chanting, be careful. But we do this chanting. Sometimes it does have power. And how does it actually work? And it's focusing now my energy on your energy, and that's not just ritual. That's understanding how it works. The mind does have power, and I know that. You can see it happening. And one of these lovely stories about the power of this Buddhist ritual. And this is one of the great stories, because it's one of these Thai monks. I won't tell you who it is. He's still alive. And he was visiting one of our monasteries over in, I think, San Francisco, that's right. So one of my friends met him at the airport, San Francisco airport. It was only a few years ago. It was after 9/11. Please keep that in mind. And when he came in, he looked at his passport just to make his visa was in order. And this monk had a diplomatic visa to enter the United States whenever he wanted for the rest of his life. He thought, my goodness, what is a Thai forest monk doing with a diplomatic visa? And the monk told the following tale, which was checked out afterwards, was true. A couple of years previously, he happened to be visiting Houston. There was a Thai temple in Houston. And about that time, NASA, National Aeronautical and Space Agency, was installing a new mainframe computer in their headquarters building. This multi-million-dollar contraption, a number cruncher to run their agency. And this is NASA, this is big. So they've spent millions and millions, hundreds of millions on this computer. And as soon as they put it all together, they could not get it to work. They couldn't boot it up. And I remember, this is NASA. Every moment that was down, every minute was $1 million down the gurgler. Or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, a lot of money. So they spared no expense of getting any expert from anywhere in the United States to try and fix up the problem. But no one could. They didn't know what was wrong with it and how they could fix it. until one of the engineers, who was a Thai Buddhist man, just made a suggestion. Well, if all the experts can't fix it up, perhaps it's something supernatural. And I know the very monk who can fix it, because he just happens to be in the Thai temple right now. And this is not going to cost us $1 million, just a cup of tea, just how cheap rates we monks charge. So they went to that, so they got this monk up into the main computer room, and can you fix it? Yeah, sure. So he did a bit of chanting, did some meditation. And no joke, after he came out of meditation, that computer worked perfectly. And of course they were so impressed and so grateful. What would you do? Use their contacts to get this guy a diplomatic visa for the rest of his life, just in case they needed him in an emergency. But it worked. But also this guy, this is a weird stuff, sometimes the mind does have power. When he came through San Fran airport, the monk who was receiving him, he had his bags. He got all these zips in the bags, and one of the zips wasn't working, he was messing around with it. And so this monk, he'd just come out, hadn't picked up his bags, just come out. He said, "Oh, what's wrong with your bag?" He said, "Oh, the zip's stuck." He said, "Don't worry." He opened up his robe, and there was all his pockets inside on a jacket, and he got out a pair of pliers. He said, "You didn't take that on board the plane?" "Oh yeah, I've also got 3 knives, about 4 screwdrivers." And he had really big knives, and he was carrying them on board. And this was after 9/11, into United States with all their homeland security. And this monk, he just couldn't believe, what the heck are you doing? How come you don't get caught? And he said, it's really easy. When you go through those metal detectors, meditates and it never goes off. And the truth is there, he does that. But don't worry if you're flying next week. Only great Buddhist monks can do that, not terrorists. Terrorists just don't have any power of their mind. So you're perfectly safe. It's amazing what you can do, all these stories you come out with. But they're actually true, I don't make these up. But anyway, just so sometimes the power of the mind is actually very good. And so sometimes, if it's some of those rituals, we actually do this. We do sort of meditate when people are sort of dying. I got into trouble once because somebody was dying. And they said, "Please, Ajahn Brahm, can you do some chanting for my father or something because he's suffering?" And so what I do, you sit by there. The chanting is only just a way of focusing my mind. I try and focus as much energy onto him. But I got told off afterwards, because after my chanting he started getting better. But not that better he would actually live, it was just prolonging his death, that's all. So they said, "No, please, not so strong chanting next time. We want our father's going to die, but we just want to die peacefully, not for him to sort of prolong his life." So those things happen as well. So some of those rituals which we do, they have got some power, but it's not just getting as many monks or nuns as possible chanting all night. It's just the intensity and the power of that that monk's or that nun's mind. That's what actually works. So although some of those rituals, once you understand what they're really about, then it makes it more reasonable, and you're not sort of accused of any gullibility anymore. Sometimes people have got no religions at all these days. Now look at people who follow religion. You're really so gullible. And you go there sort of bowing, and you go there sort of praying for something, and wishing, if you sort of put enough incense sticks in the holder, you're going to win the lottery. Or if you put enough sort of coins in the donation box, you're going to sort of find the love of your life. Those sorts of superstitions we really should sort of stop, because those are the rituals which give religion a bad name. But that at our Ajahn Grove Retreat Centre, for those of you who have been there, we've got these 2 stupas, these 2 monuments from Java. They're imitations of Borobudur, because Borobudur is this great monument in the middle of Java. It's a huge thing. Built by some kings of Java many, many years ago. It's a Buddhist monument. And on the very top, they've got these little round bell-shaped things with a Buddha inside. And we've got 2 of those. They weren't taken from Borobudur, but the same stone carved by artisans outside over in our Ajahn Grove. And when I went there many years ago to see it, they actually told me just one of the myths or legends which surrounds that. They say if you can actually get up onto the stupa and you can put your hand inside, they've got these little holes, and if you can put your hand in there and actually touch the Buddha, then you will find true love. So when I went there, all these young men and young women were trying desperately to sort of get their hands in there. And now on our retreat you see some of these old men desperately trying. I want to take a photograph of them and send it to their wives. These are just myths. And so don't get lost in ritual which has no meaning. But there are rituals which do have meaning. I mentioned some of them. And sometimes just having a ritual which is a repeating of something, like a marriage ritual, like a funeral, so it does actually help psychologically just make the message get in and be understood by you. That's why when you have a marriage ceremony, why do we have a ceremony at all? It's because you're getting up there, you're doing a ritual to say to yourself as much as anybody else, but certainly to your friends and family, I am committing to this person. You're saying it in public again and again and again to you. Because if you do that, it actually gets in, the commitment becomes real. Or the funeral ceremony, it's a letting go ceremony. You know, there you have someone you've really known for such a long time, you've cared for them, you love them, you've argued, you've made up again. These are important people for you. And so you need a ritual to reinforce the message of letting them go and freeing them and freeing yourself. So the whole ritual of, say, a funeral should be a ritual of letting go and letting go and letting go. But the other ritual I was going to mention, but I got so sidetracked with the chicken story, is one of those rituals I saw which was beautiful over in sort of the Buddhist countries where I went to, was the forgiveness ceremony. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. Over there in north of Thailand, I saw them do this once every year, always, every year. Husband and wife, doesn't matter what they'd said or done with each other, once a year, usually on the Thai New Year day, one of them would get a tray of flowers or something, some gift. They go up to their partner and say, darling, whatever I've done in the past year, by body, speech, or even by mind, thoughts, which has hurt you and caused you unhappiness, or things I didn't do which I should have done, intentional or unintentional, I sincerely, with all my heart, ask your forgiveness. And even though you don't remember what you've done, it's all said, and the other partner says, yes, I forgive you, and anything which I have done over the past 12 months, body, speech or mind, intentional or unintentional, or things I should have done which I didn't do, I'm sorry, please forgive me too. And the partner says, yeah, I forgive you. Then they embrace. It means that once a year we get all this rubbish which sometimes we can accumulate for the whole of our married lives. We take all that rubbish, we have this beautiful forgiveness ceremony, and we let it go. And that's such a wonderful, wonderful thing to do, because isn't that what happens in life? You meet with each other, you always have arguments, difficulties, things you say you shouldn't have said. That's being a human being. But the other partner can sometimes keep that and nurture it for such a long time, it eats at them and it destroys the relationship. And who should actually do the forgiveness ceremony first? The husband or the wife? And the answer is, the smartest, wisest person asks forgiveness first. So whichever one of you thinks you're wisest and smartest, you get that tray first of all. Because the wise person, the smart person, is the one who initiates it. And if you ever ask for forgiveness like that, you're duty bound, just by wisdom, by compassionate, by truth, to give your forgiveness. And it's a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. We've seen that done sort of in our monastery when anybody leaves. The monks, we go up to each other and say, whatever we've done, body, speech or mind, the last time we've been here together, we really ask forgiveness. So we always leave with no baggage, especially no negative baggage from the past. So if you haven't done that yet, you can do that on your anniversary, or on a New Year day, or whatever day. And it has to be like a ceremony. We also do that ceremony at funeral services, forgiveness ceremonies, because again, when you've been living with this person for such a long time, maybe your son, your daughter, your father, mother, sister, whatever, again, there is unfinished business. So a lot of times that we've done this forgiveness ceremony at a funeral service, we ask everyone to close their eyes. Imagine the person who's passed away. Now imagine all the things you should have done, which you didn't. Things which you did do, which you shouldn't have done. Imagine them as if they were before you. Visualize them and say sorry. Imagine what they would say back. Of course, I forgive. And please forgive me back for all the things which I should have done and didn't. All the things I did do which I shouldn't. It's almost like you have a ghost in front of you asking forgiveness. And you give it with all your heart. What a beautiful way it is of letting go. I remember when we went on pilgrimage once to India. Being in a bus together in India, just going over all these roads, stopping and getting into the fields to do your shit and peeing and stuff because there was no toilets, and just having a hard time travelling. And there's always irritations when you spend many, many days together. I remember the last day we all did a forgiveness ceremony of each other. It was a beautiful ceremony because it means any sort of bad feelings or sort of hurt, you don't just keep it, you just ask forgiveness and let it go. So that's one of the most beautiful parts of the Buddhist rituals, forgiveness ceremonies, and I invite you to do it at home with your loved one. Find it one day a year. Find a sort of a plate or something, and find something which the other person likes. Just present it. Look, here's a gift, because a gift is an expression of love. And just ask forgiveness of the person you live with. You don't know what you've done. Who cares what you've done? You've done something. We've all done something, haven't we? So you've done something. It doesn't matter what it is. Just say, I ask forgiveness anyway. And mean it. Let the other person forgive you too. Who knows, maybe you might do even the best forgiveness ceremony of all. When you give yourself a gift and say, I forgive me. We haven't tried this yet. This is my Ajahn Brahm's forgiveness ritual. I made this up. But there's no franchise on it, no patent, anyone can do it. If you're having trouble with yourself and feeling guilty, close your eyes, meditate for 2 or 3 minutes, and then imagine, use your imagination, that there's a shoebox, an old empty shoebox, and in that shoebox you put this wonderful thing called forgiveness. You can imagine it just like a jewel or like a blob of goo or whatever. Whatever you imagine forgiveness is, you put it in the box very carefully, and you slowly put the lid on the box. And in the imagination you find some wrapping paper. So very carefully you fold the wrapping paper over the box, make nice little corners and fold them over. And then imagine, all in this mental exercise, you find some sticky tape and you tape it down very carefully, so you make a very neat box. And then you find some ribbon and you sort of tie it around the box with a nice little bow as best you can in your imagination. And last of all you find a little card, a gift card. And before you tie it onto the ribbon, you write on that gift card, to me, with love, from me. Write it on there. Then you push it aside and imagine that you forget where that box is. And after a minute of intentional forgetting, you look around, you find that box. Oh, it's a present. I wonder who it's for. Play, have fun, and you open the card. It's to me! With love for me. Isn't that sweet? And you don't tear it apart. You very carefully take off the little card, untie the ribbon, you take off the wrapping paper so you can use it again. And then you have all the excitement of a real present. I wonder what's inside, I wonder what's inside. And you open it up. Forgiveness. To me with love from me. Ah. Now that actually works. You know why it works? Because it's a ritual, a mental ritual, which means that all the maybe 5-10 minutes you're doing this, the slower, the more meticulous, the better. It means every moment of that 10 minutes you know you are giving yourself forgiveness. You know that, it's in your mind all the time. So you're reinforcing giving yourself forgiveness over 10 whole minutes. That is why it works. So these are real Buddhist rituals. And you can see there's nothing magic about it. I've explained them all. This is actually how it works. The psychological power of doing something which can enhance your life and make you a much better person. And if you don't understand what the ritual is, please don't do it. Ask someone who's done that ritual before and you get this amazing answer. You think, wow, all these rituals in Buddhist religion, they actually have a purpose. And they're there to help us grow as spiritual beings, kinder, more generous, and more liberated. So hopefully you understand now what Buddhist rituals are all about. Take a few and practice them so you too can be a happier, more beautiful person. Thank you for listening. Now that's an Australian ritual. So if you're going to do it properly. Very good. There's nothing more miserable than a half a clap. Okay, it's in Zen, the sound of one hand clapping. I just heard it a few minutes ago. Okay, any questions about this evening's talks, about rituals? Yeah, go on.
Compared to the Gregorian chants, Buddhist chants are a bit boring in terms of music.
Yeah.
Can you change them one day?
Okay, compared to Gregorian chanting, Buddhist chanting is quite boring. That is actually what it makes it very effective for ghost busting. I never explained how it works. Because when you do the Buddhist chanting, the ghost just can't stand it and runs away. Gregorian chanting, then all the ghosts from the area come in to listen. It's so beautiful. So, there we go. Okay. Any other question there? Okay, I think we should finish off now.